Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world away, and today I'm going to be doing stages 45 to 50 of the Fanhome release, a build the fast and furious Toyota Supra. So if you remember, in the last pack we had basically put the circuit board in and put a whole hickledy-piggledy mess of wires, which I didn't undo, which I'm glad I didn't now, because we're actually going to be testing that today, because we do have the remote control. Something else they've sent me, if you have a look at this, is a new mug. We got a mug here. So what with the World of Warcraft mug that we had earlier in the week, that's pretty cool, isn't it? So, my coffee is taken care of today. No, apart from the remote control, I don't know what we're doing, so we're going to find that out together. If you want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description, and I've also got that QR code on the screen. But without further ado, let's get cracking. Okay, so here we go. Stage 45 is going to be the remote control. I know that because I saw that in the last pack, and it told me what was coming next. And there it is. We're going to be putting a battery into it, which looks like a 2032 battery that we're going to be using. I've got plenty of those. Making the remote control, and then we're going to be testing all the electrics to make sure everything's working. So, here we go. This is stage 45. Get this open. I always keep this massive box of batteries here to make sure I've got the right one. As you can see, I've got 2032 here. And all we're going to do is take the remote control here. I'm going to be dropping the buttons in like this, making sure they're not upside down. There is a locating lug just there. Ensure that they're all the way through, as you can see there. Then I'm going to be putting the circuit board on, which again needs to be this way round, lining up the hole here with the hole just there. So that's in place. No screwing or anything. We're going to be putting the back on, clipping that into place. So that's perfect. Then I'm going to be putting the battery in this way round, and then that's going to be going in here like this. So for this to work, we do have to make sure that we have got batteries in the car. I'm just checking now if I have. I haven't. As you can see, the batteries are going to go in this point here. I need 3 AAA batteries, so I've got them here as well. Get all of these in. Click the switch to on. Okay, let's try these out. Now, mine isn't working. As you see, I press the power button like I meant to, and then I'm pressing the engine. Nothing's happening. I flick the switch at the bottom, press it again, nothing's happening, as you can see. Okay, so we're going to fix this. I'm going to show you what to do. First things first, we're going to follow the black and the red lead and unplug that. This is the power, and I need to check this has power. So I've got a voltmeter here. I'm turning this round to 20 volts voltage, DC voltage there. And all I'm going to do is make sure I've got power coming into this. So I'll touch the contacts here and here to ensure voltage is getting to the board. Okay, that says 4.45 volts, pretty much what we're getting in there. So we know we're getting power to the board. So stage 1 is tested. Now stage 2 is the switch. Best way to check the switch is this orange cable here, which is next to the battery cable. Unplug it. I'm going to set my amp for continuity, which always has a speaker next to it as well, as you can see just there, so that when I touch these leads, it makes a noise. So I don't know what position the switch is in at the moment, but when I touch these contacts, if it makes a noise, the switch is on. So that's working. If I turn it off, the switch is off. So we know the switch is working. So if we know the power's working and the switch is working, I'm going to draw my attention to this now then, because I'm guessing there's a problem here, which is why this isn't starting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to manually ensure that the contacts are actually hitting everything on here. So I know that's got power. And as you see, that's working now. And look, the light's coming on. So we will test that in a minute. So the problem is with the remote control here. I need to ensure that this is getting contacts here. So what I'm going to do is just bend this spring round a little bit so that when this goes in, it needs to go underneath this spring here. And I think what's happening is I was pushing it and it wasn't going underneath there. So I think that's probably fixed it. Let me put this top back on. I'm glad it wasn't working because this gives you an idea. I'm going to turn it off and on again, okay? It gives you an idea of how to problem solve if there is something wrong. I'll put this in now and turn that on. And it works. So it was a remote control in this instance. We're happy. Okay, so we've got the horn, as you can hear. We've got volume controls. That makes lower. Let's have it nice and loud. We have got a light on already, which is this blue lead here. Actually, is it blue and red? As you see, there's a couple of lights on here already. This is O. Cable O is now on already, as we just start the car up. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to be pressing button 7, which is the lights. And as you can see, all these neons are on. All these lovely blue neons. Anything else come on? Yeah, we've got these little red lights come on here, which is on cable P. They're on as well. We've got this cable down here's come on as well, which is cable E. Anything else? Let me just have a look. Yep, this cable's come on as well, which is another little noodle light here, which is cable D. That one's on. If I turn these lights out, actually, there you go. Gives you an idea of how this is looking. Okay, if I press this button here, middle one, it should make high beam come on. So that's those lights going on and off. So that's working good. If I press this button here, reverse light should come on and off. So that's what these are here. Perfect. If I press this button down here, should be indicators. That one's working. And the other one, that one's working. Perfect. If I press this bottom button, all of these should blink because they're hazard lights. So that's good. If I press this button here, it should be the brake lights coming on and off, as you can see that there. Excellent. And then finally, I think this is the final one, this button here, which is sort of like fog lights, which is what's turned these on here, as you can see. Is that everything? Oh no, we've got one more, which is this M1 here, which is a passenger light, I believe. As you see, that comes on over there. Whoops. Like this. On, off. Perfect. Then turn everything off by pressing the power. Everything works. Make sure I've turned the switch off there. That's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, so that was a bit of an adventure, wasn't it? Stage 46. Here's the instructions. And we are now going to be doing the steering box, creating the steering box. Lots of little fiddly things by the look of it. So we're doing this like this, putting this into place here. And then we've got a lot of the brake lines. That's what these are. Putting these into place. Then we're going to start tracing these wires through and putting the clips into place. So that's should be how it looks. So there's going to be a fair bit to do in stage 46. Okay, it's now time to ignore the instructions. We're going to take this little section here and this section here. This is going to be going over the top of this like this. And we've got these AM screws here, which are going to be going into the top of this universal joint section. In the instructions, it tells you to put it the other way around. If you do that, it's not going to attach at all because there's no threads. So it needs to be that way round. Get this last one in. Yeah, I don't know why the instructions are telling you to do it the other way. That's silly. Okay, IM screws. I have this tiny universal joint to put into place. Historically, on this channel, this is where I normally injure myself. But I'll make sure the holes are lined up first, and I'll get an IM screw in this side. I won't make it too tight. Just tight enough so I can get one in on the other side. And then once they're both in, then make them as tight as you want. If you do want it tighter and you want it to stop spinning, get yourself a flat-headed screwdriver. Just put that down there. That will stop it spinning. So you can get them tighter. As you can see, one that side and one that side. Excellent. We've then got the other part of the universal joint here. The ones that haven't got the notch out the side of them, they look more rounded. That's what's going on the universal joint just there. And that again is held in with IM screws. And once I've got one in, just do the other side. Perfect. We get them tight as well. See what I mean? Look, this is why it's dangerous doing this. Slipped. And then I've got one more universal joint to put into place on the end here with IM screws. So again, one just in that side to hold it and one in that side. And again, if I want to make it tight, I'll just put the screwdriver down there and tighten them up. So that's that section in place. Put that to one side while I take this box now, and I want this round section here to be going on top of the box. But on this side, we're going to be putting another gear in there so that then this attaches to the top of that gear. That's held in with an AM screw. I've already got one of these open. So screw this into place here. There you go. That's into place. Right, the instructions don't tell you to do this, but I'm doing it. I've got some grease here, and I'm going to be greasing up all of the parts in here. I'm going to cake it with grease, to be honest with you. Okay, I have caked that in grease. I'm going to be doing the same on this end here of what we've created, because this is going to be going on the inside here like that. And as you can see, this is going to be able to turn. Then I'm holding that into place by putting this metal cover on. This can only go on one way. It's going to go on like that there. Perfect. And I'm holding that in with IM screws. You know, the problem with working with grease is everything's slippy now, so I will have to tidy this up afterwards. But let's just get these last screws in here. If it's not fitting good one way, just flip the lid over and put it in the other way. But there you go. So when this turns, as you can see, it's turning that there. Let me just tidy up all this grease. Okay, let's bring the car over. And probably best on the top camera, I want to put this into position just behind this lug here in the gap. So we want to make sure we're not pinching any of the pipes or wires that we got here. And when this goes in, it should sit in like that. Perfect. I don't know if you can see that on the top. I will show you on the side camera in a second, but I want to get some screws in. So the back ones here are going to have AM screws. End part here is going to go onto the steering here. Now, if you can't see it, just turn the wheels like this so it actually becomes visible. So I'm going to get the AM screws in first, and then I'm going to need a flange screw to just secure the steering, the end of the steering, should I say, to this part. This is going to be a bit difficult, I think. I have got it in. So as you can see, the steering's connected underneath here with that flange screw I just put in, and on this side, that's how that's looking when it's sitting in there. So now, when I turn this, it should operate the wheels, as you can see. Put that to one side. I'm now going to bring over these sections here, which are the oil cooler. I have a problem saying that. It's going to clip the panel in here. That's going to make the oil cooler nice and quick. I've got two little tabs that we're going to be putting over the top. So one goes in this side here, just like that. The other one goes in here in this direction. So what we're going to have is the bent one on my left, this one on my right. Bring over the car again. Do you remember we had these cables coming out the side here? But I was really trying to get the steering not to interfere with. Well, that's what's going to be plugging into these two parts here. So one in here. I haven't glued these. I think they're going to be quite a tight fit actually. The longer of the leads I'm putting into this side. Whoops, get that in. That's that into place. Personally, I think it would have been better to do this first time round, but we want this to be sitting into the two holes that I've got down here. Anyone who tells you that is easy is lying to you. That was really hard to put in there. But there you go. It's in. Okay, behind the engine, behind this knuckle here, again, impossible to show you, right down the bottom there, there's a hole for this to go in. Again, I'm going to put glue in here because once this is in, I ain't going to be able to get it back out again, I don't think. Now this is the dipstick, which I really wish we could have put in when the engine was out of the car, because putting it in now borders on madness. I think I can get to it from the bottom here. I can. So I've had to go through the wheel arch at the bottom here to get that in. Nightmare. But there we go. The dipstick's in. Now we've got some cables in this stage here. I've got a thin black one. That's going to go into the nipple just underneath the dipstick here on the side of the engine. Get that one in. It basically sits on top of the silver box that we've got in the inside of the engine. I don't know if I can show you that, but I'm getting that on there. Hang on. The instructions again are a little bit deceiving. It looks like it's on the back of this pulley. It's not. It's actually a square box that's lying flat on the bottom. That's where that one goes. Okay, this is the accelerator cable. It's going to go into the back side of the accelerator here. God, this has taken an hour so far and we've only done 2 stages, so you can imagine how long this is actually taking. There we go. That's in there. And then this long cable here, I want to put one end. There's 2 little nipples underneath this black box on the side. So one end in here. And the other end's going to be going through the hooks on the side here. It's going to keep this nice and tidy. Through the hole in the next one along here. So it can come out the other side there. And I'll clip that in as well. Perfect. So that's coming out there. And that's all we're going to deal with for that. That was really hard. And that took a while. And I just want to show you how that looks. Okay. Now we're going to be dealing with these wires. So coming out towards the front of the car, I'm going to need B, D, A, E, F, C, H, and G. Wow. But what it wants me to do is disconnect all the extensions. So I think what I'm going to do, let me see if I can get away with this. So we are going to be untangling these wires now, being very careful with them. And I do want to disconnect these as well. Not the neatest thing you're going to see, but you get the idea. That's going to keep those in place. So they're going to be coming off in this direction over here. The only ones I don't include in this, if I have that passing under there, is the 3 cables that are coming out from the battery box, which is the switch, speaker and battery here. They're going to be coming out of this side, all the rest going out this side here. I'll leave it like that, but that gives you an idea of how that looks. But that's all there is to do in that stage. So as I said, I have disconnected all of these, but that one stage has taken, well, at the moment we're in 1 hour 15 minutes. Crazy. Wow. Okay, stage 47. Here's the instructions. And we've got to start doing the front left wheel arch now. Not much on this one, thank God. So that's looking like that. As a matter of fact, I think now they're saying, oh, you know what, you've had quite a lot to do, so we're going to give you an easy time now. So all I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking this bracket first and attaching it to this wheel arch. So it's actually just going to be going this way round on here like this. And that's going to be held in with an IP screw. So that looks like that. On this end, again, an IP screw. I'm going to be putting this into that position there. And again, ensure that that's nice and tight on there. So we've made one wheel arch. We're going to be putting this into place, making sure these wires aren't in my way. Let's put them out the side. This is actually going to be going in here just like that. That's held in with the BM screws. So 2 at the back and then 1 just down here into the gap just there. Perfect. And with that wheel arch in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. So stage 48, I'm guessing we're going to be doing the wheel arch on the other side. Let's check that. We are putting that together and then putting this into place. And it's exactly the same thing. I'm just going to be taking this and putting this on here like that. Holding it in with an IP screw and another IP screw just to hold this side in. There you go. That's another one done. And obviously this one is just going to be going on this side over here. just like this, and it's held in with the BM screws. Once again, just the one in here. So there's 3 screws altogether. That's all there is to do in that stage. So stage 49. Here is the instructions. And we have got the left engine bay panel, which it looks like we're going to be fitting into place. So this is a quick one as well. So that's how that's looking. Quite a big panel, this one. And it's a big slab of metal as well. Okay, we've got the windshield washer reservoir, which we're going to be putting in first. So see that hole there? Big hole. There's a little tiny hole to screw this in there. It's going to be held in with a CP screw. Get the screw through the hole, offer the reservoir to it, and then screw that in. I use my PH1 screwdriver, just get it a little bit tighter. But there you go, that's that reservoir in position. And this is going to be going over the top of everything here. We do want to make sure that this suspension here is going through the hole at the bottom. So I'm lining that one up first before I get these in. Because if it isn't lined up, we're going to have a bad time. There we go. I think that looks good there. Perfect. I can see the suspension underneath here. So I've lined up the hole there as well. Probably best to put the screw in for that one first, I reckon. So that's an EM screw here. Just going lightly till I've bit that suspension, and then I can go tight because I don't want to push it out the way. So there we go. That's now locked in. That suspension can't go anywhere. I need BM screws. These are going to hold this into position in the chassis here. So one there, one at the back here. And there is actually one just in the middle here. Just there. Perfect. And then I want IP screws, which are going to be going into the 2 positions on top of that wheel arch here. So one here. And also one just down this side here. And then I want to turn this upside down. When I do that, keep an empty box underneath so I don't do anything bad to the engine. I want an AM screw, and I'm going to secure one side of the wheel arch down here, and then I want a BM screw just to do the other side over here. With that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. So the last stage of this marathon building, we're on 1 hour 31 minutes. Here is the instructions. The edit's going to be a lot quicker because I was doing a lot of faffing around. We're going to be doing the battery, fuse box and reservoir. So there's quite a lot to do here. It looks like we've got lots of stuff. Okay, I have been having an easy week this week. We haven't really had much to do, so I'm paying for it now, aren't I? Right. Get all of this open. So the steering fluid reservoir, that's what we're going to create first, which means just taking this piece here, putting the cap on, which goes down the top, quite a tight fit. There we go, that's the cap on. Then I've got a bracket, which is going to go on the bottom, which has a notch in it, so this can only go in one way, just like that. Now I'm going to hold this in with an IM screw into the engine bay. So I do have an IM screw ready. And this is going to be going into the position, hopefully you can see this, just here. Now, this cable here is part of the battery. And just underneath that reservoir, they did ask us to do this bit first, but stupid me didn't. There's a nipple that this needs to go on. I've put a drop of glue in there. I can still get to it, so I'm not going to take that off. But I am going to put this onto this nipple here. So that's in place, ready for the battery. Now, I've got another cable here, or a pipe should I say, which is coming off the side of this reservoir. So I'm putting one end in here. There you go, that was hard. And the other end's just going to be going on this nipple, which is behind the pulley just here. Now the next time I see a pipe will be a billion years too soon. But there you go, that's that one in. Okay, we're going to build the battery now, which is just these 2 parts here. Putting these together. So this is going to go on top just like, oh, just like that there. Held in with AP screws. This then can go into the battery bay area here, and it goes in that way, just like that. but it's held in from the underside with AP screws. So I've got some battery terminals to go in now. So I have put some glue in here. I've got the smaller one going on this side, pushing that into position there. And then the larger one, they are shaped holes, is going to go on this side over here. Perfect. Now, the battery terminal that I had coming out of this side, which I glued down before, is going to go into the end of that terminal there. So that's in like that. Let me just tuck this wire away. Excellent. And then I've got the free end of the negative terminal, which I'm going to be putting on here. And there you go. That's the battery terminals in place. Very good. We're going to be making the battery bracket now, which means I'm going to need this and these two posts that I've got here. I want the longer one to go in this side, the shorter one to go in this side here. Just push them down. And then these are going to be going into the battery bay this way around. So they're going to go on like this either side. There you go. That's the battery bracket into place. And now I'm just going to be doing the fuse box. So I need to put the chrome lid on first. Lovely. And then the bracket that goes on the bottom. And that's a fuse box created very quickly. This actually fits into the position just here. There is a locating lug. There you go, to help me align that into place. Held in from the other side with an AP screw again. And then finally we're going to make a coolant reservoir by putting these two parts here together. So it fits in just like that. Holding that in with a KP screw. Just through this back side here. And then I've got a little connector just to put on top here. And then I've got an orange cable, which is going to be going into here. And then this is just going on the side of this battery here. There is a couple of holes for this to push into. So I'll just get this into place. Oh, it's quite a tight fit. That's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. Well, now that was a marathon. Look at this on my head. It's where I've had my eyeglasses on. Okay, so as you see, we've done a lot of the wires in the engine bay here was the hardest thing, I think, but the battery's in, looking pretty good. I'm glad we tested it. I hope I've helped you if your electrics aren't working and showed you how you can test that for yourself. But really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.